folks. I hit the jackpot here for women in model railroading. This is Joyce Robinson. You were the first railroad engineer for CSX?
For Conrail.
Conrail. Okay, wow. Now, she's a railroad engineer, folks, so I'm going to let her do the talking, and I'm going to shut up. So let me get out of the picture. Okay, Joyce, tell us about yourself.
Well, such a pleasure to see you. But I was Harrisburg's first black female train engineer for Conrail back in 1994.
Okay.
And it was a challenge, of course, to be an engineer, but I was able to do it with hard work and perseverance.
Wow. Now, you might want to speak a little louder because I haven't gotten a microphone yet.
Okay.
But you were the first black female engineer for Conrail.
I was Conrail's first black female train engineer out of Harrisburg.
My goodness.
Out of about maybe 3,000 men. So it was indeed an honor.
Wow.
But trust me, it was a lot of hard work. But it was worth it all.
What locomotives did you run?
Oh, I ran the SD90 Mac. I ran the General Electric engines. I like those because they load so fast.
Holy smokes.
But the SD90 Mac, I just have to share with you, it's considered to be the biggest engine in the world.
Which engine's this?
The SD90 Mac.
Okay.
And it weighs 425,000 pounds. It stretches 80 feet long. So those are the engines that I ran. Now, I used to work out of Hagerstown to Allentown.
Okay.
But then I was an extra engineer too. So I worked in Pennsylvania, I worked in Maryland, I worked in Delaware, and I worked in New Jersey. So I was qualified in a lot of different places because I was a young engineer, of course. So I couldn't hold anything, so I had to be on the extras, which was still pretty cool. So I got to travel and see a lot of things.
I don't know modern diesels like I do steam. So like SD70s, did you ever run those or what?
Yes, of course I ran the SD60s, the SD70s, but my favorite one was the SD90 Mac. It was just a big, powerful, dynamic diesel electric engine.
Now, would they triple head those or double head them? How do they usually run those things?
Well, with a coal train, 2 of them would do the job for about 100 loads of coal. 2 of them was awesome because it was a 6,000 horsepower engine.
Right.
So it could pull 100 loads of coal. It could pull up the hills and take you wherever you wanted to go.
And you retired from doing
Yes, I retired in 2005. So I have 28 years with the railroad.
Wow.
But I worked a lot of different crafts. I started as a block operator. And then after they closed the towers, I didn't have any place to go. So then I became a clerk. So I worked in Harrisburg, I worked in Enola, I worked in Philadelphia, I worked in Jersey. Then I decided one day to come back home and I became a brakeman. Everybody laughed. They said, Joy, you'll never be a brakeman.
A brakeman.
Because you have to lift 75 pounds to be a brakeman.
Right.
But I hung in there and I was able to do it. And then 6 months later, I decided that I wanted to be an engineer. So I went to engineer school and it was tough. I mean, I had to learn like over 100 signals. I had to learn all about the air brakes and a lot of stuff. But I was able to do it with hard work, as I said.
I'm so honored to meet you. I ran your friend. I was like, holy cow, let's go over here to Lady in the Locomotive. I said, wait a minute, I see this picture, and I'm like, this is a book. Is this that locomotive you were telling us about? That's not the 90, is it?
No, that is not the SD90 Mac. Now, I have a picture of it, and I will be doing a presentation at 2 o'clock.
Oh, at 2 o'clock you're doing a presentation?
But that is also a good engine, and but the SD90 Mac was one of my favorites. You know, like I said, it was a dynamic diesel electric engine.
Wow. Well, tell us what else you've got here. You've got a line of coloring books, and you want to speak a little loud because, like I say, this microphone.
Well, as a train engineer, I would do train safety at schools.
Okay.
And some of the kids would ask me questions about trains and stuff. I said, I'm just going to take the time to write it down because I only had so much time to talk to them. So one day I started to write some of this stuff down. I said, oh, the people that work on the railroad are the men and women just like your mom, dad, sister, brother, a friend, or even your next door neighbor. I said, oh, I like that. So that was the first 2 pages in the book. So the book is called Railroad People.
Wow.
And then I also did a coloring book. and it's for the kids that like to color. And then I also did a book called On the Right Track Through the Eyes of a Locomotive Engineer, and it talks about the vigorous training to become an engineer, all the things that you have to learn. You know, like I said, the signals. We had to learn over 100 signals. We had to learn about the air brakes and so much stuff, the rules. But it was a challenge. But with hard work, again, I said you can do it. And then I also wrote a book called From the Fields to the Future, 7 Secrets to Living Longer.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is one of your books, On the Right Track.
Yes. Here, I'll move this thing.
And man alive, and that's you. Wow, you look great. You look the same. You don't look any different.
Oh, well, thank
You're
you
beautiful,
for that compliment.
Yes, and
thank you.
And up here,
this was at the Amtrak station. I was doing a newspaper ad for the Patriot News.
Wow.
And so that's the picture that I got from that.
Wow. We'll let this announcement. Let me pause this real quick. Well, folks, to get a hold of Joyce Robinson to purchase her books, or the coloring books, or the kids' things, you can text Joyce or call her, right, at that 717 phone number?
Yes.
And the Lady in the Locomotive, and you can buy her books on Amazon. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Thanks so much, Joyce.